did not call them, but they used the proposal, the idea for something else. They used it. And at that point, because they didn't use that proposal, because they didn't accept you, because they didn't let you in, you felt you're a failure. Tell your neighbor, rejection is not an identity. Tell him or her, rejection is not an identity. It's just an information. And what do you do with an information? What do you do with information? You process it. Then you use it to your advantage. You do what? You process it and you use it to your advantage. This rejection may be social, religious, political, etc. If some people tell you their political traumas or whatever they are faced in terms of politics, you marvel. You will marvel. Various reasons could be responsible for rejection, such as ill feelings, hatred, bitterness, envy, rebellion, disobedience. Rejection must be well managed so that it does not degenerate into low self-esteem. Do you even know that even Jesus was rejected? Is he not the same carpenter's son? That's one of the things we always say, that you know who you are. When you know who you are, you cannot be limited. It is therefore expedient to examine biblical examples of those rejected and learn from the ways they handled it. I just gave one example. As Jesus. Who wants to give another example? The people we've talked in the Bible. We've just talked about Jephthah as well. We have 2 lesson outline. The first one is handling rejection. Biblical examples is the first one. And the second one is handling rejection. Going through the scriptures, there are several cases of rejection. For instance, God rejected King Saul because he failed to carry out his directives to destroy the Amalekites. We've mentioned disobedience is part of what leads to rejection. Rebellion. They ask you to do this, you don't do it. This is the way it is done. You don't do it. One way or the other. It's coming back to haunt you. Especially when it's things that has to do with building you, building your life. It's just like saying they ask you to read for exam. Read for exam. You don't read. You see, you get your report sheet when that time comes. So disobedience. There are things that God has asked us to be involved in, and things He has also asked us not to be involved in. And when He says, this is what I expect of you, and you are not doing it, what is that? Disobedience. You are rebelling. The case of Saul. He said, kill everybody. He partially obeyed. Killed some other things that he felt, he took it to himself. You can see that in book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 2 to 3. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 2 to 3. Cain was rejected by God because he did not offer an acceptable offering. He did not offer an acceptable offering. If he had done it right, God would have accepted it. His brother did well, right? And sometimes that when God asks us to do some things, we do it selectively. We select the ones that is okay for us. The others, Ọlọ́run roro. God is not that strict. He won't change standard. He won't bend rules. Consider in the book of Genesis chapter 4, verse 5 to 7. The children of Israel rejected God from reigning over them as their king and requested for a human king, just like the nations around them. We see that in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 5 to 7. Joseph was rebuffed, was rejected by his brethren, his brothers, because he told them his dream. Because he dreamed of glorious future and was sold as slaves to Egypt. That's to let you know that some information is dished out. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Jephthah, though a mighty man, was rejected by his brothers because he was the son of Alot, whom his brethren considered a strange woman. We read that earlier. Jesus Christ spoke about his rejection by the human race. How do you handle rejection? Lesson outline 2. Maiwa told us, he said, Maiwa, one of the things you said is you worked on yourself. Okay. Do we have another person that wants to tell us? I'm sure one way or the other we've experienced rejection before. Okay, we have another mic. Mic, please. Please save my time.
The number one way to handle rejection is identify the cause of the rejection itself. You don't have to be emotional why you are rejected. So because many times it's not just because people don't like you. I've had that before also on the job. I had occasion where a particular person would not want to see me. And I had to come back. I think it was about that time Pastor Yinka was taking us a series. I think it's year 2023 or so. He talked about abuse. And he said something, one particular addiction. He said that those that are hot, it's only those that are hot that will hurt others. So if you are being rejected, most especially on the job, think inward. What could have been the reason why
Check yourself.
you are being rejected? Could it be that you are lacking in level of competence? There's something you need to add to yourself or value or so. Instead of you to go back to your chef, begin to withdraw that you are not good enough or whatever, identify the cause of that, and when you build capacity to help you.
Thank you very much. Any other person? That's buttressing. It's an information. When you are rejected, it means there is something you need to work on. It's an information. It is not who you are. You are not a failure. It's just saying there are a few things you are lacking and you have to improve yourself. Any other person before we go into the manual? Okay. Being rejected by an individual or a group does not necessarily mean you are the problem, therefore. Does not really mean you are the problem. Therefore, never write yourself off, but keep improving on yourself like Jephthah for opportunities that may change your narratives. Improve on yourself. Work on yourself. Put things in place. In the course of my life, I have learned to turn negativity to positivity. When I see that this thing is hard or this thing is not going the way, I look at the positive side of it. I see how I can engineer it. How can I turn it to a tool? A tool that will make me better. And that's what some of us miss. when we look at some things that is giving us problem, I mean, we don't try to see the positive side of it. And one of the reasons is we are not grateful. We are not grateful. If they have rejected you and you see it as information that tells you this is what I'm supposed to do, you'll be grateful. When you see it as a tool of making you better,